For the past 20 years, the Mini Cooper has been pretty successful at attracting buyers looking for a cute, charismatic, fun-to-drive small car for your urban lifestyle. Now, of course, since the Mini Cooper was first reintroduced to America back in 2002, we've seen the car go through several changes. In fact, the most recent one was back in 2016 when Mini introduced the all-new third generation model. Now, of course, as the competition continues to elevate themselves, Mini was forced, of course, to make some exterior changes to the Cooper for 2022. And today, as you can see, I'm standing by the refreshed 2022 model. It's actually a version that I haven't had a chance to drive yet. It's probably the one that I'm most excited to drive out of the entire Mini Cooper family. This is the 2022 Mini Cooper JCW. It's the Performance John Cooper Works. And as you can see, it's a convertible, which is the perfect body style for something that's this small and this charismatic. So if you guys are looking for a small British roadster that also happens to be a fun to drive, cute little car, how does the refreshed 2022 Mini Cooper convertible stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, in case you're wondering, this is what the Mini Cooper convertible looks like when the roof is up. It only comes as a soft top, but you can see the cool thing about this top is it's all power operated and it goes down in about 18 seconds. You have to be driving under 18 miles an hour for the top to actually open and close. The cool thing I also noticed is when you open the top, it actually has a sunroof function. If you just push the little silver lever here, you can see it actually opens up and just reveals a sunroof where you can use this mode as opposed to putting the entire top down. Push the toggle again backwards and you can see in about 18 seconds, the top goes completely down. It actually almost folds down in the way of like a pickup truck bed because it actually stays back there, which means it doesn't go into a compartment which would otherwise eat into your cargo space. Now, with most convertible soft tops, I actually think the vehicle looks much better when the roof is down. It really just shows the cool factor of this car. In fact, I really like a lot of the styling changes that Mini has made for the 2022 model year, and they are pretty subtle, so let's go over some of the design changes they've made for this refreshed model. Now, as you can see, approaching the Mini Cooper convertible JCW, those of you who aren't familiar with this generation will probably just think it looks like the same car that was available for the 2021 model year. However, if you stare at the car a little bit more closely, you're going to notice the front fascia has been reworked. Now, of course, the JCW model has a unique front fascia. In fact, the grille opening in this vehicle is much larger versus the S and the non-S version. You can see it almost has these kind of rectangular squared off areas at the lower portion. They also have it black. If you guys go for a non-JCW, Mini actually added a body colored bar that kind of intersects between the grille and kind of breaks up some of the inserts for the grille. On the JCW instead, you get a red badge, the JCW badge over there, a red line, accent line, and of course you can see the grille that's much more aggressive that has functional air intakes, of course, to cool that turbocharged engine. Now, the one thing I don't like about this car, the hood scoop used to be real on the previous generation models which had a supercharged engine. Now, as you can see, it is a fake hood scoop. It actually doesn't even open up to anything. It's just there as part of the design. My tester, of course, is the iconic trim level, which means it's the highest trim, and it also has these optional bonnet stripes for like an extra 500 bucks. They're black with the red accents. They certainly look good. All Minis actually now come standard with full LED headlights. My tester has the LED daytime running lights and turn signals, as you can see. No LED fog lights. These headlights are also adaptive with automatic high beams. They look great. Gives this car a very premium, modern look. In fact, a lot of times I look at this car and I think it looks like a toy. It definitely has almost like a toy car look to it. Now, my tester, of course, being the iconic trim, comes with a choice of 17 or 18-inch wheels. My tester has the optional 18-inch wheel, which definitely looks good. I love the two-tone design. They're wrapped in 205 40 width series tires. These are the optional summer tires. You can also get it with run flats and all-season tires if you'd like. These wheels, also, one thing I don't like about them, they kind of protrude out a lot past the sidewalls, which makes them very prone to curb rashes. So be careful if you guys do own this car. You can easily curb rash the wheels. The brakes are also, as you can see, upgraded Brembo 4 pistons, which are really impressive considering how small this car is. It kind of gives you, again, a meaner, more aggressive look to the vehicle. Now, Mini Coopers are small, but this vehicle does compete with something like a Mazda Miata. At 152 inches long, this is actually 2 inches shorter than a Miata, if you can believe it. However, its wheelbase at 98 inches long is about 8 inches longer versus a Miata. This vehicle is front-wheel drive. You cannot get it with all-wheel drive. It's not rear-wheel drive. So again, very classic Mini proportions. My tester has the chili red painted mirrors, and it also has, you can see, a John Cooper Works badge here, although this is a fake vent, but it does include an LED turn signal accent light over there. And then you can see, looking at the rest of the proportions, the top, my tester has a unique top that has the British flag actually in the top for an extra $500. They call it like the personalized top. Really looks good with this Rebel green. It's a very dark green. You can also get it with a lighter green called British Racing Green, available on other trims, but on the JCW it includes this special color, which again gives it a lot of character. The rear taillights, this is where Mini got a lot of controversy when they redesigned it, because they made it extremely large. I do like how the British flag is kind of embedded into the actual design of the taillights. I think it gives it a unique look to it. And then you can see LED turn signals, LED taillights, LED reverse lights. The Mini badge you can see on my tester is blacked out, which is nice. You have a John Cooper Works badge over there. And then the exhaust system, this is actually like an active exhaust. The engine sounds great. Let me fire up so you can hear what this motor sounds like real quick. Sounds pretty good for this little car. I wasn't expecting to hear such a gnarly sounding exhaust. Now, opening up the trunk area, this is where the Mini Cooper convertible does come with a compromise, because like I said earlier, this rear deck kind of sits up a little high. It blocks your view. And it supposedly doesn't take up cargo space because it doesn't go into the trunk. However, when you open up the trunk, it opens up like a tailgate bed, which is interesting. This will actually hold a maximum of 176 pounds, so I can barely sit on it. And then when you look under here, you can see there's about 5.2 cubic feet of space. So it is a significant reduction versus the 8.7 and nearly 34 in the hardtop version. So now that I've showed you guys the exterior changes, let's go ahead and hop into the interior and see some of the updates that Mini has made. You can see my tester here has these optional kind of Recaro style or high performance seats which have fixed head restraints, but they definitely look great. They also hold you in place nicely, although I'm not entirely sure they're the most comfortable. I find the seat bottom cushion to be a little bit narrow. I also found this to be kind of an awkward feel, and I also don't like how these are manual seats, which have a manual adjustment. It's a 6-way adjustment with a manual lumbar support that's a wheel on the other side. Try the seats out if you guys, if they work for you, that's great. But Mini does offer several different seat combinations and a different seat look depending on the trim level that you guys are going for. Now, in terms of the door panels, you can see it's a soft touch injection molded plastic, kind of BMW-esque. Remember, they're sharing parts here because BMW is the parent company. Although you do have unique window switches for Minis. These are a nice chrome accented one. I don't like the door handles, which have the power window control integrated into them, or the power door lock control into them. They're a little bit awkward to use. My tester also has the Harman Kardon stereo, which does sound good. In case you guys get tired of listening to the engine, you can listen to the stereo system, which does make this car feel a little bit more premium. Now, getting inside, you definitely get the sense that you're sitting in a low sports car type vehicle. And then when I shut the door has that typical solid thunk that you associate with a convertible, although it's not quite as solid as some other convertibles in this segment that I've tested and sat in. And then in typical Mini fashion, let me show you guys the key. There used to be a time where you used to have to stick the key in the ignition with Minis, not anymore, thankfully. This is the unique Mini key. It's a little bit large, but they haven't changed it in years. It feels a little bit plasticky. It is a smart key feature, so all you have to do is just keep the key in here. Mini puts a little toggle here for the start-stop button. And you can hear, even when it starts up right now, it sounds really good. So love that noise, especially when the roof is down, just adds to the whole character. Now, my tester, being the iconic trim, has a heads-up display with this kind of LCD that flips up. I don't really like that style, but everything, again, is kind of to a price point. And in terms of the interior materials in here, for a car that has nearly a $50,000 price tag, this definitely doesn't feel expensive. It just kind of feels like a unique British car, a unique economy car. The plastics, however, are solid. You have a soft touch injection molded plastic over here. It's also soft touch over here. It would be nice to see if Mini would offer like a full stitching, leather stitching, but I don't believe they offer that. You can get this piano black plastic, which my tester has, or you can also add in aluminum or kind of like a silver carbon fiber look material. There are some interesting lights here in this big central screen where you have this big circle. This is a Mini thing. If I turn the radio on, for example, or to adjust the climate control, you can see it actually changes the color based on what I'm adjusting it to. This is a pretty interesting design touch. But I also think it looks a little bit silly with the new infotainment system because they made the 8.8-inch screen here standard. It includes wireless Apple CarPlay, but no Android Auto. They do not offer Android Auto in Minis for now. You also have this LCD helper screen here. which is nice. And then the steering wheel did get updated slightly. It's got paddles on the wheel. You have steering wheel audio controls. The steering wheel itself is tilt telescoping, which is manual. It offers way more adjustability versus the Mazda Miata, and I also like how the gauge display there is connected to the wheel, so it actually moves whenever you adjust the wheel itself, which is nice. The horn, oh my God. Really dinky horn, but it kind of goes with the character of this car, so I can't complain too much. And then you can see here the 8.8-inch screen is an improvement, but there's a lot of unused black plastic here, which they could get rid of if they went with a different design. I know this is part of the heritage with Mini's interiors, but it just doesn't work, I think, in today's modern world. You can see there's the home screen there for the kind of iDrive-based infotainment system. It is Mini's version of it. And it works okay. You can see going to your audio systems there. It has your usual presets. It has your built-in GPS display, which of course is nice. But most people are probably just going to use the Apple CarPlay that's in your phone when you guys have that phone connected, as long as you guys have an Apple. And then when you put the vehicle into reverse, you can see Mini does give you a full backup camera here with trajectory. But no backup assistant, and they don't offer a 360 camera, which, come on guys, this car is really small, so you don't really need a 360 camera. When I look behind me, you can see in the rearview mirror, there's the view when the top is down. As you can see, it really doesn't give you much of a view, so that's something you have to get used to. There is some LED lighting in the cabin here. There are some nice sun visors or with a mirror that's built in. And then the seats, you can see, are pretty much aggressively bolstered with a manual lumbar support, but again, try these seats out for yourself, see if they work for you. Storage solution is a little bit lacking in this vehicle. I do have cup holders down here, but I couldn't really find a place that could really fit my iPhone 12 Pro Max. You can put it in the cup holder here, but this will fly out whenever you take a turn, so it's kind of annoying. You have 2 USB ports over there. You have heated seats. You have dual zone climate control. Your stability control is off there. Your switch is there. And then you have your sport mode selector. You can see there's a sport, there's a mid, and there's a green mode. We'll talk about the driving scenes later on in the video. This controls the 8-speed automatic transmission. You have a iDrive-like controller over here in case you don't want to use the touchscreen. And then in here you can see there is a wireless phone charger, but my iPhone 12 Pro Max really does not fit in here. It just kind of barely fits in there, and it's really tight. So make sure if you guys have those bigger phones, you're gonna notice that this car has a really small center console area. You can also fold this up. There's no additional storage here. So this wireless phone charger, which is optional, does take up some space. You have a traditional handbrake over here, of course. And then when you open up the glove compartment, you can see it's pretty deep, actually. The lid itself is damped, but not lined with felt. So overall, the cabin definitely feels a lot more spacious than something like a Miata, but if you're also comparing it to like a Ford Mustang convertible, this is gonna feel pretty small, but you do have great visibility when the roof is down, as long as you're not looking behind you. Now, getting into the back seat of the Mini Cooper convertible, obviously this back seat is really reserved for just stuff or really small kids with no legs. You can access the back seat by just pulling on that. It's on both sides. And when you actually fold this up, it's not bad in terms of the amount of room that it gives you, but I imagine most people are just gonna fold these back seats down because you can fold them down and it gives you a pretty good amount of storage over here. Now, let me get back here to show you guys what the space is like. Oh God, okay. Let's bring the seat back. Ooh. That basically hits me right in the knees. I'm 5'7", keep in mind, and I'd have to ask this passenger here, or the front seat passenger, to move their seat up because it's literally crushing my legs. Mini says there's 30 inches of legroom back here. Baloney. I don't believe that one bit. It feels like it has like 10 inches of legroom back here. The materials are hard touch plastic. You can see this is where you'd put the wind deflector here, which is optional. The Harman Kardon stereo has speakers back here. There's a little bit of storage and also a cup holder over here. But again, very tiny car that's making me feel super claustrophobic. So best just put people you don't like back here, or just packages and use it for additional storage. Now, under the hood of the Mini Cooper convertible JCW, you're gonna find just one engine choice. In fact, this is the top engine that you're gonna find in the convertible, and it gives it pretty impressive performance specs considering the size of this vehicle. But as most of you guys know, Mini is owned by parent company BMW. They're under the same umbrella. So we have the same 2-liter turbocharged twin scroll turbo direct injection 4-cylinder. It's actually the same B48 engine family that BMW offers in a lot of their other products. And in the JCW, it makes 228 horsepower and 235 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are pretty impressive. And it's a healthy increase over the 189 that you get in the S, which has a detuned version of this 2-liter. The base Mini Cooper has a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbo engine, which is a powertrain that I actually haven't had a chance to drive yet. The downside with the JCW convertible, it only comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a conventional ZF or ASIN 8-speed automatic with launch control. All of these only come with front-wheel drive. If you guys go for the other powertrains, they offer a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. However, the JCW only comes with the automatic. Now, with this kind of performance, BMW says you should get to 60. Mini says that you should get to 60 in about 6.3 seconds, which is not bad. It's about a half a second slower versus the hardtop version because this model here weighs a little bit more. Now, fuel economy is actually still pretty good. This is rated at 26 in the city, 33 on the highway. Premium gas, of course, is recommended. And as this one sits, it weighs in at just over 3,100 pounds. Again, like I said, it's about 200 pounds heavier versus the hardtop only version. All right, so out of all the years that I've been driving vehicles and driving the Mini Cooper, this is actually the first time that I'm getting the convertible version. Surprised it took me this long, but remember, Mini has made a pretty significant refresh this year, and it's centered around the updated styling and, of course, the ride quality, because now we have finally adaptive dampers, which my tester thankfully has. Mini has always had a problem struggling with getting the ride quality right on these vehicles. So we're going to test out the ride quality as well. But because I have the John Cooper Works version, this is the version that's the most powerful that you can get on the convertible. So 2-liter turbo, BMW B48, 228 horsepower, which is plenty for a car that's this small. The convertible does carry a weight penalty of about 200 pounds versus the coupe only version, and your resulting means you're going to be losing 0 to 60 going from 5.9 to 6.3. So this car does come with launch control with that 8-speed automatic. We're going to go ahead and try it out and see what this car can do. We'll turn off the traction control here and go ahead and see what this car is capable of. The road is a little wet. Listen to that exhaust. It snarls when you really get on it. 0 to 60 in 6.43 seconds, which isn't bad. It's a little bit slower than Mini's claim of 6.3, and the road is also a little bit damp. Remember, this car is only front-wheel drive, and I don't believe it comes with a limited slip differential. I did not see that anywhere, but if you guys know if it does, let me know in the comments below if I mistook that. But typical Mini fashion, this thing handles extremely well, and it just sounds really good. I love the sound that this engine makes. It is that really nice typical 4-cylinder growl that BMWs are known for, because remember, it is a BMW engine. Now, let's go ahead and try it one more time. I just want to see if I can match that number. We'll brake torque it, do the launch control. All right, I got 6.22 there, so that's a little bit better. Basically, Mini's claim 6.3, totally believable, and this is a really, really fun car to basically launch. Now, do I wish Mini would offer all-wheel drive on this car? Absolutely. I think that it would do wonders with making this car even faster, but that's not the point of this Mini. The point of this car is to enjoy top-down motoring, or just motoring. Remember, they use the tagline, "Let's motor," for years. And the cool thing about this car with this convertible aspect is it does actually give you a sunroof function. If I just kind of hold this right here and open it up, it actually gives me this sunroof function. Now, I don't particularly like the sunroof function because the way when it's all the way back like this, the wind kind of comes in and cuts, and it pushes my hair down in a way. I know it's a first world problem. It just pushes my hair down and it totally messes it up. You can fix that, of course, by pushing it forward a little bit, but this is really one of the first full convertibles that I've seen that gives me this ability to kind of open it up as a sunroof. And the cool thing is you can actually open the top at speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, I believe, and it only takes about 18 seconds, which is pretty quick. Remember, this car is only a power soft top, but because the car is a convertible, it's not terribly cold outside. I want to put the top down and show you guys what that's like. Now, it says reduce speed. I'm going a little bit too fast. So I'm going to try that again as I slow the vehicle down. But once you are slowed down to below 18 miles an hour, You can see the roof just goes back, and we have the open air motoring. Now it says the top is not locked. I've got to slow it down a little bit more. There we go. Now it's telling me it's done, and then I can roll the windows up if I'd like. And now that the top is down, we can really see just how much different it is. It's a really big difference. And also, I'm noticing when the top is down, I can't see out of the rearview mirror very well because literally the top is in the way. That's an interesting problem to have with this vehicle. But now that it's down, I want to hear what this engine sounds like. Oh, you can hear it even more clearly with the roof down. That is awesome. That is so nice. And then we'll try the paddles here. You can hear the burbles from the exhaust. Ooh, that's nice. Now, I am sad that Mini does not offer the JCW convertible with a manual. It only comes with this 8-speed auto, but this is a really great automatic that's built by Aisin, so it's actually built in Japan. And it does its great job of, you know, providing those burbles and crackles when you upshift or downshift. It just is really well matched to this vehicle, and surprisingly it still gives you launch control, so you don't have to really compromise there. Now if you guys go for the S convertible, you can get it with a dual clutch 7-speed or a 6-speed manual. I would actually be interested in driving the manual transmission model. Oh, you can feel it when it shifts. It just has that nice satisfying noise. I really like the way this car feels in general, and even though it's convertible, you do feel a little bit of structural integrity that's a little bit lost. I can sense that the car was built to essentially be a coupe first. There's a little bit of cowl shake from the base of the windshield. And you can also feel the added weight. This car weighs a little over 3,000 pounds or 3,100 pounds, and it's heavy for a Mini. This is definitely a heavy car. And you're also noticing there is a good amount of wind buffeting in here. My tester does come with a wind deflector that you have to put in that goes over the back seats. Listen to that. That is fun. That is so much fun. Now, is this car more fun than something like a Mazda Miata? You know, the answer is always Miata. I will have to say that there are elements of this car that make it a little bit more fun to drive. Like, for example, the Miata doesn't have this much space on the inside. This actually feels a little bit roomier than a Miata. The burbles and crackles from this car make it faster. It also feels quicker at times because of the additional torque from that turbo engine. That is just hilarious. Didn't think that I could have this much fun in a Mini, but I never really cared for the coupes that much, but for the convertibles, just feel how quick that is. I put my foot down to the floor there's a click point, and it just shifts so well. It's really, really fun to drive. The steering is so quick. The ride quality also, I have it in sport right now. It feels good on these on this smooth pavement. If you put it into its mid mode here, that quiets everything down. It also puts the damper into a softer setting. I wouldn't say this car has a really smooth ride quality. It's definitely improved. The 18-inch wheels on my tester are also ruining the ride a little bit more. So I'd recommend sticking with the 17s. Honestly, if I was gonna buy this car, I actually might stick with the 17s, because with a car that's this small, you go bigger and lower profile on the tire, you're gonna be ruining the ride even more. But in mid, this is actually pretty agreeable. So Mini has done a good job of making the ride a little bit better. But then you put it into sport and everything kind of firms back up again. And you will notice that it's a firm ride over bumps. For me, it's not a deal breaker, but for those of you who are coming from a much softer car, you're gonna notice that, of course. It's not horrible, but it is still a lot of fun. In terms of fuel economy, I've been averaging about 28 miles to the gallon in mixed driving. On the highway, it got around 36, so really great gas mileage on the highway. Not surprising considering the size and how efficient BMW engines are. But I'm just shocked. I wasn't expecting to like the convertible as much as I did, but I do like it a lot. And I think that it's a viable alternative. There's a little bit of understeer there. If you guys are looking at a rear drive Miata, you're looking at a Mustang, you're looking at a Camaro convertible, this is definitely a viable alternative that has a lot of charm to it. But really, in typical Mini fashion, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny if you want something like this. My tester here stickers for around $48,000. So as an enthusiast, it's pretty hard for me not to like the Mini Cooper convertible after spending a week with the car, because just like the two-door model, this is extremely fun to drive, and it just adds a new level of fun to drive because of the fact that you can put the roof down. When you feel the wind in your hair, you feel the sun in your face, you can hear the exhaust noise of that 2-liter turbo engine even more clearly. It just makes this car even more fun. It kind of just takes away the stress that you had probably from your long day, and it just really makes you appreciate driving. I think that's the whole purpose of Mini. That's exactly why they use the tagline "Let's Motor" for so long, because this car feels like the epitome of that. Now, of course, there are some downsides to Mini. A lot of people are going to complain that they're expensive to buy, they're expensive to maintain, and they're also not very reliable vehicles because they are British and BMW is the parent company. Now, of course, if you're able to look past all of that, because remember, this is a new car that comes with a warranty, this car does start at about $5,000 more expensive versus the coupe. That's a pretty hefty premium considering the fact that this car now starts at just under $28,000 for the base version. Add about $5,000 if you want to go for the S. I recommend you do that for the additional power. However, the JCW model starts at around $38,000, so it's about $10,000 more versus the base Mini Cooper convertible with the 3-cylinder engine. I'm not entirely sure it's worth that extra $10,000. I mean, yes, the engine sounds great. Yes, this is pretty quick, but I probably would be happier with an S convertible with a 6-speed manual, and that one you can probably get in around $34,000, $35,000, which makes it about the same price as a fully loaded version of a Mazda Miata. Now, of course, the Miata has the rear drive dynamics that I really love. However, this has a back seat, and it's a little bit more of a spacious car. It also has really attractive looks. I actually really like the styling changes that Mini has made, especially in the right colors, the right wheels. This is now a much more appealing car to look at on the outside. And on the inside, I'm still not quite in love with the Mini tech in this car, which is a variation of BMW's iDrive, although it's been kind of dumbed down a little bit for this car. I seriously think Mini needs to dump the center display that's a big circle. I know that's a trademark thing with Minis, but it just doesn't work in today's modern world as screens continue to be larger, they continue to have better graphics, and they continue to become the centerpiece of the cabin. Now, of course, my tester here being the iconic trim level with the optional color, the optional top. This one here with destination stickers for around $46,000, and that's way too expensive. I think it's probably $5,000 too expensive. For 41, this would be worth it to me, but as long as you keep the options in check, I think this car is worth it. And as you guys can saw from the test drive, the vehicle is quick, and Mini has also addressed the horrible ride quality. Still not a very comfortable ride, but it's a huge improvement over the last Mini that I drove, which was the JCW GP, which arguably also had a fixed, stiffer suspension. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2022 Mini Cooper convertible. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.